Hi guys, welcome back to the James Bond Show. I'm your host Krazy Kajeevie with no fears, limits or substitutes, the bad boy of James Bond. I'm back with Dissecting, the directing. This is the fourth video I've produced today and it will be the last. Make sure you subscribe if you enjoy the content, whack a like and comment. It all helps support the channel. This is a scene I've been asked by you guys to dissect. Please, Krazy Kajeevie, dissect the torture scene from Casino Royale where James Bond goes through every man's worst nightmare and gets his balls crushed by a big old rope because Lashifa's having a bad old day. So, let's get into this. I will first of all say there might be a few surprises for you on how I react to this video. Let's just say I like the scene. The scene is needed. Censors tried to get rid of this scene, or they were pushing for the violence against this scene. I know that for a fact. And the producers laid out reasons why the scene had to be there. And the scene definitely had to be there, not just for the loyalty to the novel, but for the character to work, for the relationship of Vesper and Bond to really make sense, and her sacrifice later on, especially how the deal she made allows James Bond to live, even after he gets his balls smashed. Let's check this out, guys. Just going to move the camera slightly forward. Okay, guys, let's get into it. Okay, so the production design here already, we know from the exterior shot outside just coming into this, we know director Martin Campbell is taking us into a boat shipping container, and the music that David Arnold's done, we know Bond's in for a bit of torture here. And then you've got this whole hook thing. So the production design, the lighting's very dreary, everything's going together. And it's working to set up what you're probably quickly assuming to be not a very nice time for 007 since he's been captured. Now guys, what I really love here, what I think Martin Campbell has done well, and the message he's trying to send to the audience here. First of all, the dumping of Bond, I love this. This is great. Bang. Now they've put him in the background, so he's been dropped to the ground and he's in the background. Now, what is a clever way to extend scenes or completely change up an angle? For example, watch this chair. Prior to the chair being there, this is a wide angle shot. So that's medium wide there, to wide. Now right there, because Bond is in the background there, and that's his head there, and we can see his arms are behind his back. We've got all of this section, Martin Campbell's got all of this section open. So technically this is a wide angle shot. But once the chair gets placed into it, it changes into a close-up because an object is right there. And why has Martin Campbell chosen to do this? Boom. So the chair's there. We've got one of the henchmen there. You see his legs. The chair's there. This is now the focus. We know Bond's in a bad way. The chair gets there. Once the knife is going through that chair, the director, through his visual composition, is sending a message to the audience that your man, the protagonist, is about to get really, really hurt. Now, personally, as you see here, where the camera so pans up, it's probably just static here, the camera pans up, see the knife come down, camera pans down. I don't think we needed that. I think the camera should have stayed on this chair and we could have just heard and then the hand come down with the knife. The reason I would have gone for that and not been so obvious, well, for that's the reason. Why be obvious and show the knife? I reckon you hear sounds and it's like, what the heck's going on? So you, as an audience member, you're like, oh, what's happening? Then the knife comes down. Oh, and then it's like, oh shit. And it just gives you that split second more timing of not knowing what's happening, and then you see the knife coming down and cutting the chair, then you're like, oh, So watch this again, and you'll see what I mean. So just imagine it as though the camera pan doesn't happen up to the knife. See? It's not needed. It's not needed. They should have just left the camera there. I love that shot. Now, so wide angle, and again, just like when the chair came in before and it turned into a close-up, you got a wide angle here before Lashifa steps into frame. He comes into frame, boom, it's a close-up, he goes out of frame, it becomes a wide angle shot again. Oh, well, that became a reverse, and now we've got the chair again is the focus, so chair in the middle of the frame here. I like the way let's call him the assassin or the goon, he looks at Lashifa. Shifa's obviously given him a look, and we've got Bond here. I'm just wondering, guys, if there's a little bit of if they entered from here, I believe they entered from here, so if they've entered from here, there's a bit of a continuity, I'm going to check this out later, a bit of a continuity mistake, because Bond's head was over here, his back was up here, and the chair was being cut here. Then Lashifa's come up into frame there. So I think there's a slight continuity error there. So basically jump cut, ripping the clothes, then suddenly he's naked, so that's called a jump cut of action, and then he's there left of frame. Now, I am going to talk about this. I'm going to come up with a few ideas of what I would have done as far as framing, and you'll see why. So that's all good. Doors closed. We're showing now Bond's alone with Lashifa. I actually wouldn't have had Craig right there in the left. What I would have done there, I would have had Craig's face, or Bond's face. I would have had him centre frame, being that it's going to be about him. Then I would, as the rope comes out, as Lashifa brings the rope out, what I would start to do is widen out my frame, and I would push Bond into the left, like he's been cornered. And then this section of the frame is dominated by the bad guy, by the villain. And the more he's trapped, mentally trapped, physically trapped, tied up, make him smaller, push him into left of the frame like he's trapped.
Wow. You've taken good care of your buddy.
What I would have done, guys, that works. That all works to build up the tension. But what I think also could have been done, and it's just an option, and if I think a scene is absolutely flawless and perfect, you know, I really won't come up with any ideas. I'll just really praise the scene, kind of like I did with the Dissecting the Octopussy, the auction in Octopussy. What I think could have been done, once Bond, we see a profile shot earlier of Bond, and he's looking towards those doors. The doors close. What we could have done is, from those doors' view, what the director could have done is shown Bond sitting in the middle of the room. It could have been a wide shot, a bit of light coming down, and we know Lashifa's in there because we saw him earlier. But I would have then not shown Lashifa, had him in the dark, and then cut to this shot. His heavy breathing, Bond's heavy breathing, then his breathing starts to subside a bit, and then we hear breathing coming from off camera, and we hear footsteps. And then what I would have done with this lighting, the lighting's really lovely the way it's on Bond's face, and obviously the lighting's set up here so it's going to hit Lashifa's face. What I would have done is then just had the rope come in, sit down on him, and then heavier breathing, and then Lashifa's face just come up basically. not so much, you don't need to pull focus, like, so blur frame on Bond, and then as his face is coming in, pull focus. You don't need to do that. With his face coming through frame into the light, you can have both in focus here. I just would have done that because it would have really ramped up the tension more for the audience and for Bond, and because we're looking at this and our hearts and minds, we're thinking, this is our hero, so we're thinking about him and what's about to happen to him.
Such a waste.
Now, right here with that little swing of the rope, nice. This is a nice angle here. We're seeing the action play out. I love the fact that Bond, through the direction of Martin Campbell and Daniel Craig's performance, Bond's not looking at Lashifa. He's looking ahead. You can see he's very focused. The actor is making the character focused. He knows what's about to happen. He knows what's coming. He doesn't need to look. And I love this little swing of the rope and this tease. And I think every guy, when they first saw this, was like, oh no, don't hit the nuts. That's good, that really works. That's making the rope the focus, and then we cut back to Bond. That's fine.
I never understood all these elaborate tortures. It's the simplest thing to cause more pain than a man can possibly enjoy.
I can just tell you guys, with the way this was filmed, just for any guys watching this, to make your balls feel a bit better, mine are curled up like sultanas, but to make you feel a bit better, there was actually a fiberglass container under that chair. So the production team, special effects, they've put a special effects, as in not visual effects, but special effects for on-set effects and whatnot. Or they've put basically they built a plastic container and it was put under there, hopefully one not breakable, and that's what the rope was hitting.
And of course, it's not only the immediate agony, but the knowledge that if you do not heal soon enough, there will be little left.
So here, I would imagine this is what you can call a master wide shot. I would imagine that director Martin Campbell has played everything out in this shot, because in this shot you see people coming in, Bond being dumped, chair put there. So the whole thing would have been played out in this master, and then you've got your reverse angles, you've got your side profiles, so you've got your extra setup shots. So all up so far, I think it's probably about, from what I've seen, all up, I think there's probably about 6 complete setups. So each setup is where the camera's put in a different position, and with that comes lighting changes, etc.
Identify you as a man. The only question remains: will you yield in time? I want the money.
This works, but I don't think it's needed. I think what could have happened, if we just go back a section here, just go back a bit more. Okay.
That's to identify you as a man.
Once Lashifa sits down, this here works. Even if you come out, you pull out a little bit, this works. Bond's still focused looking forward, and you can see the stress, the sweat's happening on Lashifa. This guy's under a lot of pressure. He knows he needs these coats. I would have pulled out and let both actors, because their performances so far, I am going to critique one performance in a moment, but their performances so far are so bang on, as in really good. I would have just put out a little bit and just let the actors remain in basically a 2-shot. So you've got a profile here shot of the protagonist. It's basically a double profile played out in a 2-shot. I would have let that just play out and not done the cuts. That slap could have worked. In the 2-shot we had before, the profile 2-shot, it would have worked fine without cutting. We don't need to see this much tension on his face yet until the real ball bashing happens.
The only question remains: will you yield in time? I want the money.
See, in that line, I want the money. How well would that have worked with back in the shot we were in before? And they would have, in that shot, they would have filmed probably all this as well. So they would have had this in the edit room. So I would have played that out because that line of "I want the money," I think it's powerful. I think we need to see the desperation on Lashifa's face, especially when the performance by Mads Mikkelsen is so on point. Now, before, if we had remained in that angle, we just pull back a little bit. He steps back as we pull back a bit. He gets the swing. Whack. It would have worked beautifully. I like that. I like that cut to the wide shot. It shows that he is just trapped. He's center of frame pretty much. He's trapped. There's a light. There's only one light. It's almost like a glimmer of hope for Bond, this light above him. You know what I mean? Because he's in a dark world here. And I mean that as in symbolic representation by the lighting.
Miss Len will give me the account number, if she hasn't already. So all I need from you is the password. The password, please. I got the ledge.
That piece of writing, I'm not sure who came up with it. I would imagine that's a bit of Paul Haggis writing. I don't want to give him the credit in case it's not, but it sounds like something he would write. Brilliant, brilliant writing. This is fantastic. And obviously, essence of the novel are really in here. Though in the novel, Casino Royale, Bond got his balls obliterated to the point he was passing out. He was really ill. And that is one of my other critiques of this scene. I'm not going to kiss ass at this scene. It's a much-loved scene. It's a great scene as far as pushing the character and the torture he goes through for Vesper and to carry out this mission. But I still think what we're about to see performance-wise, it should have been done differently. Right there, that would have exploded, literally exploded his testicles.
No! To the right! To the right! To the right! You are a funny man, Mr. Bond.
Okay, so Daniel Craig's doing well. He's showing the pain. He's showing the agony. This is good. It all kind of stops for me and fails in a moment's time. And this is kind of semi-wasted.
Yes! 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 No!
Okay, this is where this scene fails for me. There is no way in hell a man after that torture, we are talking, you can get a slight tap on the balls and you can hit the ground. You get that done, there should be blood. This is what I would have done as a director and talking to the actor. I would have basically had him half unconscious by now, blood coming out his mouth in horrific agony. This line probably didn't need to be said, and there's no way. Remember, they want to go for a realistic Bond, and I understand they want to get lines of dialogue to push the audience into thinking certain things, but I wouldn't have done this. Now, he has got Bond, as I said earlier, more in left of frame, so I've noticed that's happened here, but I would not have allowed Bond, or the actor Daniel Craig, to deliver this line with such clarity and alertness. He would be in horrific agony.
I'm gonna know that you died scratching my balls. I died. Yes. Because no matter...
Like, especially this bit, there is no way he would be like this. So from this point on, this scene just loses me, just starts to lose me.
But you do. I'm not going to give you the password, which means your clients are going to hunt you down and cut you into little pieces of meat while you're still breathing.
There's just too much dialogue there. There's too much dialogue. It's not needed, especially for the reasons I said before.
Because if you kill me, there'll be nowhere else to hide. But you were so wrong! Because even after I slaughtered you and your little girlfriend, your people would still welcome me with open arms.
Now, what could have been done is, like I said earlier, they could have had blood coming out. He could have been half unconscious, and he still could have got those lines out. Now, what they could have done, they could have moved, Director Martin Campbell could have moved the camera in on Bond, brought Lashifa's face in closer, bring the camera in more, so Lashifa basically has to hear his whispering, because his balls would be so gone, and he's to the point he's going to pass out, and he's just, with the last energy he has, this is how I would have directed Craig to do this. With the last energy he has, he just spits these words out about, they're going to kill you anyway, blah, blah, blah. The words that Bond had said. I would have cut that dialogue down and got him to verbalise it enough where we hear it, and the excuse for us hearing it is close up, and we get the real tension with those two in the scene. That's how I would have done this.
Because they need what I know. The big picture. Give me the password, and I would at least let her live. Oh, do it soon enough, and she might even be in one piece.
Again, one thing I have on Martin Campbell's direction, and you see a lot of this also in GoldenEye, it's a lot of master, profile, reverse angle, cut. It's almost like a TV style of editing, and he originally was, not only from New Zealand, but when he was directing in the UK, he was doing a lot of TV. And I don't think he's ever got out of that in his feature films, where you look at someone like Spielberg, who I've explained in previous videos, his shot composition, he can get all these angles, but he can keep the camera in a place, and he can move the camera and move the actors to get the angles, where this is clear different shot setups and cutting. And I just don't think it's as effective. I really would have kept these two in the same frame a lot more. Because in a way, and you could say, well, if you keep Bond on his own, he's isolated. Well, not really, because Lashifa right now is going through kind of a mental torture, because he knows he's a dead man if he doesn't get these codes. Now, I do love this. I think his performance here is brilliant.
You really aren't going to tell me, right?
And the dialogue.
So I think...
This here, obviously he does the kick. Bond's off frame when he does the kick. We've got the wide angle here, but the sound effect to go along with the kick, even though the effect of it was off screen until we're halfway through here, that was horrific. To me, this is probably worse than the balls being banged, because you kick someone near there in the heart, they're going to die. You kick someone, you hit someone in the heart, you can just kill them like that. So that, to me, this is a really powerful moment.
I'll feed you what you seem not to value. I'll get the money. Tell them I'll get the money.
Money isn't as valuable to our organization as knowing who to trust.
Okay, guys, now obviously that's very powerful and it works. It does work, it's effective. But again, I'm not going to kiss the butt of this scene in this film. I'm going to tell you what I would have done here. I would have shown the door cranking that open, and I would have cut. I would have cut back to Lashifa. I wouldn't have shown Mr. White. I'd be on Shifa, and then the sounds of him walking, that's enough. Let the audience fear what's coming. Like there's something really coming, and now it's coming for him. So you don't need to see this. You can cut to that, and you cut to Le Chiffre. See, cut to him. Now, when you hear this sound of the feet moving, this is incredible. It's great sound design. The audience, all you need to do as an audience is read that. His face, his expression. Keep the audience imagining. We can imagine worse things than what a film director can show us. This is making us imagine what's coming at him. I would have also framed him back, push him in left of frame, because then, like Bond earlier trapped, now he's trapped. So as we hear these footsteps, boom, 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 I bring the camera across, I basically track back here, block him in left of frame, and then leave this open, and that way it's showing something coming towards him, and something is trapping him in and coming towards him. That's what I would have done there.
I'll get the money.
And then I'll get the money. We don't know who's there.
Tell them I'll get the money.
And then all you need to hear from there is the shot, and then cut to,
Money isn't as valuable.
I'll get the money. Then you hear, money isn't as valuable to our organisation as loyalty. That's fine. And we're like, oh, whose voice is that? And then...
For our organisation is knowing who to
Then I do a gunshot. You don't need to show that yet. Gunshot.
trust.
Once you hear the gunshot, then you cut to that. And then you get the result of the gunshot. And that is beautiful. And again, this is good filmmaking. This is like how when the chair was put down before, when Le Chiffre comes up into frame, and now Le Chiffre's dead, the head is there. So it's gone from this wide angle shot to an extreme close up here with the bullet hole there. And that's how you can manipulate the frame, by putting things into it. So guys, look, film's subjective. Different filmmakers see things in different ways. I believe that the power of the frame is everything, and also let the audience, let their mind dictate fear and things like this, especially in a scene such as this. That's been my dissecting of the torture scene from Casino Royale. If you like this, please consider subscribing. If you haven't already, share with your friends. Drop a like, guys. Leave a comment. Love to know what you think of this video, and maybe what you would have done different. And of course, let me know what you would like me to dissect next. Till next time, guys, keep on bonding, and say hi to your mum for me.